yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach. Welcome back to my crochet channel. Now usually on Wednesdays I've been doing our this or that videos, but today and through the rest of the holidays through until the new year, I decided I wanted to do some little extra fun little patterns that we can do together that are lots of fun. And maybe we'll come back to doing the this or that videos in the new year. And so what I have designed here for you is what I'm calling Christmas ornament balls or baubles. I guess we could say this is a this or that, because would you call this a Christmas ball or a Christmas bauble? And so what I have done here is just used one pattern to design baubles or Christmas balls in lots of different ways. This is done with the silver sparkle yarn. This is sort of a beige with gold sparkle. I've got a red and white. I've got a red and green, a green, white, and red. And this one is like antique colors in sort of a cranberry and pine green and a really light green. And this one I did all in purples and cranberries and silver. And they're a lot of fun. You can hang them on the Christmas tree with the hanger. You can set them like I have here. You can also use it for a fun game. Set up some different baskets because they're stuffed with fiber fill, and so the kids and grandkids and the neighbor kids and all the kids that come over to your house at Christmas can play with them. And it's also a really nice party favor. If you want to have a little Christmas get-together, you can even find out what your friends' favorite colors are, or maybe how they're decorating for the holidays or for Christmas, and make one for each one of your guests that they can take home and use in their holiday decorations, and remember what a great time they had at your party. All right? Okay, so they measure approximately 4 inches tall, and they're about 11 inches around. So it's a really nice size Christmas ball or bauble. You can find this pattern on my blog, and as always, it has lots of pictures, and you can find that link down in the notes underneath this video. And so as you can see, I used lots of different colors of yarn to make them. You can use any medium weight number 4 acrylic yarns. These are all made with acrylic. If you want to make them out of cotton, you certainly can as well. I just got in my yarn stash and just grabbed out a bunch of different colors that I thought would be beautiful for Christmas. And for today's demonstration, I didn't want to use one with sparkle in it because sometimes it messes with the camera. Those sparkles kind of make my camera act silly. Okay, and so I just grabbed out some acrylic medium weight number 4 yarns, and I'm going to do this pretty gold, this bright green, and this bright red, and make a pretty Christmas bauble for you today. All right. We stitch them up with our H hook, which is a 5mm crochet hook. And then you need, of course, a pair of scissors and a needle. And whatever you want to use, like if you want to add a ribbon or some beads for a hanger, or you just want to use a metal hanger of some kind, it doesn't matter. If you want to add buttons, if you want to add jingle bells, you can do whatever you want to add on to make it a hanging bauble or one that you just set in a bowl like I've done with these. I'm hoping my grandkids will find it a really fun game. All right, now the last thing you need, of course, is just a handful of stuffing. And I say just a handful because you don't want to overstuff it, but you also want to have enough stuffing in there that it holds its shape. I'm going to start with my gold yarn and make my slip knot. And I'm going to chain 5. And we'll join this chain 5 into a circle and tie that stay knot. Alrighty, now you can begin with a magic ring or magic circle or any way that you want to make your beginning ring. So we're going to go in, pull up a loop, and chain 3. And then we're going to chain 1 more. And this chain 4 counts as a double crochet chain 1. And now we're going to double crochet, chain 1, and we're going to do this 6 more times, so we have a total of 8 double crochet, chain 1. All right, let me count. Here's our first chain 4, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I need one more double crochet, chain 1. Now we're going to join to the 3rd chain of our beginning chain 4 with a slip stitch. All right, now you'll want to close up that hole, so we'll turn this over. I like to pull that loop just a little bit big so I don't undo what I've done. Okay, and we'll pull that nice and snugly. We'll grab our needle and go ahead and weave this in. Now we are going to be changing colors, and so you could wait to do this to the end if you wanted to, but I always like to do this beginning one first. And depending on the project, sometimes if I'm changing colors a lot, I will weave them in as I go, or I will wait. Make sure that's nice and snug. And clip that off. All right, so for row 1, we have 8 sets of double crochet, chain 1. All right, let's do row 2. We're going to bring in our color 2, which is my red. And we're not going to cut off our yellow yarn because we're going to be bringing it back in and using it later. We're going to go in that first chain 1 space and chain 3. And then we'll stitch a double crochet in that same chain 1 space. Now we'll go to the next chain 1 space and stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Then we'll go to the next chain 1 space and stitch 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. And we'll do this in each of those 8 chain 1 spaces. Two double crochets in each of the chain 1 spaces. Alrighty. Now we'll join to the chain 3. There we go. And that's the way that row 2 should look. 8 sets of 2 double crochets. Now we're ready for row 3. We're going to bring in our 3rd color, and we're going to leave the other 2 attached. If that's too clumsy for you, or not clumsy, but you just don't want to do it that way, you can cut those strings and bring them back in later. I just leave them attached because they're going to be the next 3 rows after we do this next row, okay? So we're going to go in between those first 2 double crochets and chain 3. Counts as a double crochet. Then we're going to double crochet in that spot. Then we're going to go in between the next 2 and stitch 2 double crochets. Then we'll go in between the next 2 and stitch 2 double crochets. So we're basically stitching 2 double crochets in between all of the double crochets. See how that looks? 2 double crochets in between all of our double crochets around. All right, so 2 double crochets in between all of the double crochets all the way around, and then we'll join back to our first chain 3. So I have completed that all the way around, stitching 2 double crochets in between all of my double crochets. So that gives us 32 double crochets. All right, now we're going to bring back in our yellow. So I'm just going to grab it from behind, snug that down, and we're going to go right in that first stitch, but we want to chain 1. There we go. And we're going to go right in this first double crochet and stitch a single crochet. And so what we're going to do is stitch 1 single crochet in each of those double crochets all the way around. And as we do this row, it should be rounding up just a little bit already, but as we do this row and the next 2, you're going to see how it just forms like a little bowl. Alrighty, so I'm stitching 1 single crochet in each of those double crochets all the way around, and I'll join back to my first single crochet. So I stitched 1 single crochet in each of my double crochets around. I joined to my first single crochet with a slip stitch, and I cut my yarn. Now I'm going to bring in the red. And we'll snug that down and chain 1. And we're just going to repeat what we just did. We're going to stitch 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets all the way around. And again, we'll have 32 stitches on these single crochet rows. They'll just be single crochets instead of a double crochet. All right, so 1 single crochet in each of the stitches. And so I stitched a single crochet in each of my stitches around, and I joined to my first single crochet. I cut my red yarn, and now I'm going to bring in my green one more time. And so we'll just snug everything down and chain 1. And now we're just going to repeat that one more time and stitch 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets around. One single crochet in each of the stitches, working all the way around, and again join back to that first single crochet. So I finished that last row. I joined to this first single crochet, and all I'm going to do is make sure everything's securely attached, and I'm just going to stuff those inside. All right, and now I need to make a second half circle. And so now I've made 2 half circles. The first one we tied off, we got all the strings inside, and the second one here we left attached. And we're going to sew or stitch the 2 of them together. So we want to put them together like this, but that makes it a little bit uncomfortable and hard to do. So I'm going to push this one out and put it inside this one. Okay, so you've got the right side out on both sides. This one's just sort of pushed in, and don't worry about all those ends, just stuff them in. If they're getting in your way, you can cut them off. I just left them on because it's on the inside. All right, so now what we're going to do is we've left our yarn attached, and we're going to go through the loops on both sides and stitch a slip stitch. And we're just going to line it up and stitch almost all the way around because we got to leave a hole to put our stuffing in. All right, so we'll go in the loops on this side, the loops on this side, grab our yarn, pull it through, and then pull it through the loop. Just a basic slip stitch. And we'll do this all the way around, stitching the 2 pieces together, except we need to leave a hole so we can add that stuffing that makes it a nice squishy Christmas ball or bauble. Whoops. And let me kind of pull that out so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. All right. So I'll continue around and leave a hole for stuffing. So I've stitched around, leaving a hole for stuffing. And of course, it's up to you how much stuffing you want to put in there. If you want it to be really snug, I like them to be a little bit snug, but also a little bit squishy. So I put a little bit in both sides to kind of push them out. And then I put the rest in the center. Okay. I just love this one. Turned out really cute. All right, so now what we need to do is just close up that hole with our slip stitches, and we'll be done. Now you can decorate with buttons and ribbons and baubles and all kinds of sparkly sequins and things if you want to. It's totally up to you. Oops, get her in there. There we go. Or you can just leave them plain and let the yarn be the star of the show. There we go. I'm going to leave mine sit in this bowl. And when my grandkids come over, we're going to play some games. Alrighty, so we're going to tie that off. And the last thing we need to do is just weave this end in. If you don't want to do anything too tricky, but you do want it to be a hanging bauble, just get you some of those fancy, hanging ornament hooks, and they'll look super pretty. All right, so I'm just going to kind of swirl that in the stuffing and pull that out. Clip that. And they will need a little shaping because, stuffy things need shaping. Okay, so there's our bauble all sewn together and ready for your Christmas parties. So now I have one more Christmas ball or Christmas bauble to add to my holiday decorations, games, or whatever we're going to do with them. I just love them. I think you will too.